Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Lakas ang ilaw. Mars, can you hear me na? Wait, we have to have softer light. Chikara-san, how are you? Yay! I borrowed the phone. Hi, Chikara. Okay, hold on. I have to adjust my light. Tagumpay, Cheska! Okay, just so you know, okay. Hi, magandang hapon, good afternoon. I'm Anicoche. Hi, Chikara. We have friends watching from Japan and different places. Brave New World Project. Oh, it's a Brave New World we're taking. Okay, masyadong maganda yung camera ni Kuya Brian, my housemate. So, but anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining this afternoon. I'm just glad it's my day off. It's my day off today, so it's nice to be with all of you because I'm going to show you my workspace in our new house. So hi everyone. I'm Anicoche. I'm a theater maker, performance maker, and ang hirap. I came from theater tradition, no? So I studied theater arts, tapos film, and a lot of my practice is in contemporary performance, mostly dealing with communities. So, lagi sinasabi, I work at the intersection of performance, development, and cultural work. So, ayun. Yes, so we just launched our first week of the Virgin Labfest. If you haven't seen it, it's on Facebook. Nasa Facebook lang siya, Cultural Center of the Philippines Facebook. It's so challenging. It's so challenging. I am leading a battalion of artists who braved uncharted territories. So it's nice because I want to share with you some discoveries that we have and things that we learned the past few days and months even. So yeah, well, basically, I'm also a storyteller for children. Magandang gabi, Chikara. Thank you for joining us. I want to show you our studio or how we're working in this new normal. So yes, I'm leading a festival where in the duration of the festival we are broadcasting from 200 plus, more than 200, I think 240 or something like that, more than 200 homes because the artists cannot come together, so we're working remotely. And beginning this year in March, when the Cultural Center of the Philippines faced yung challenge of this pandemic, we managed to convince, or at least siguro working with Cultural Center of the Philippines, no, they allowed us to go virtual. This is part of the COVID response of the Cultural Center of the Philippines because it's also part of like capacity building for a lot of artists. So wait lang, masyadong harsh yung ilaw ko. No. Okay ba yun? As you can see, yeah, ang ganda masyado ng camera. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. If you haven't seen the shows, we did live performances via Zoom and OBS, an application that we're using. And the performances were available for 24 hours, no? Once they get televised or streamed on the Facebook page of CCP. So that's our opening performances. Yeah, so ngayon, I think a lot of our learnings from the festival, it's this beautiful opportunity to really understand na lumalawak yung audience. We have wider range of audiences now. Hindi na siya, we're no longer in the echo chamber of the theater. Suddenly, for an hour, we have 45,000 engagements, more than the 350 viewers capacity ng isang theater, right? Or the little theater in the tradition of the Virgin Labfest. So that means we need to restract, we need to rethink how we're communicating these performances online. A lot of the challenges came in, siguro, our first challenge is to provide capacities for the artists. We created a virtual tech team composed of mga tech virtuosos, or at least mga tech geeks, in tawag silang ganon. Term of endearment. Yeah, so in the beginning, come March, we were exploring different possibilities of how we can do performances live. These are still dramatic texts, no? So we chose from 290 na selections last year. Every year, the Virgin Labfest has submissions, and we got 290 submissions. And out of 290 performances, we need to choose, ilan yun? 12 new works and 6 staged readings. Sorry, 9 new works and 6 staged readings. So, nung nangyari yung COVID, kailangan magano na kami. We need to rethink. So we had to re-invite our artists, our playwrights and directors, if they're willing to join us to go virtual. Initially, I'm just sharing this now. And then, well, the initial idea is just to do a Zoom reading. You know, you've seen that on Facebook. Mag-Zoom tayo, I'll read the script, and we're good. But, syempre, you know artists, no? After a certain state of shock, siguro from the pandemic, we suddenly start dreaming again and exploring and like looking at different possibilities of what we can do with technology to bring the message across. So, yun yung eventually everybody started exploring different texts, technology and text, no? There's a prompt of liveness. Whoa. So liveness, how do we do liveness on stage? You know, theater is about being together in a shared space and shared time with that intentionality of being together. And that is one thing that we are losing because of physical distancing. And this will go on for the next 18 months. So we were really thinking, okay, so how do we replicate, or how do we simulate that feeling of liveness? And theater is always about these codes, these rituals na meron tayo. So we tried to simulate. We have those chimes and also honor the tradition then, no, of having chimes. You know the CCP chimes before a show starts? It tells you na, magsisimula na. A big challenge. A big challenge in staging online is that we never, I think we anticipated the expansion of our audienceship, no? Lumalawak na siya. So in the beginning, we were thinking a lot about how to put so much context, how to help artists and all these works provide enough context for audiences para may makapitan. So this year, our theme is kapit. Get a grip, or hold on, or find an anchor, or ano pa ba? Kapit, or stick to it, something like that, no? So when we re-invited artists to join us, syempre, kasi pandemic so kailangan manggaling sa kanila, and we have different ways of coping with the pandemic. So, yun, linaban. So, if you've seen the works, now you can actually access all our performances on Vimeo. The Cultural Center of the Philippines Vimeo page, all 18 performances will be there for 100 pesos lang. It's really cheap. And we have a 200 pesos package, or $4, where you can get add-ons, interviews of artists, yung ganun, iba-iba siya, no? Why is it cheap? People are saying, kailangan mas mahal siya and all, blah, blah, blah. But I think this is also responding to our economic realities now. Labfest went on. We continued doing Labfest to provide support for the well-being of the theater community and for our audiences. Diba, Emil? Hi, Emil! More power! Watch our shows. Yun. So, accessible siya. It's very accessible. And we're proud. Chikara and our friends watching from abroad, we will be providing English subtitles. Thanks to Japan Foundation Manila, we will have English subtitles of the work. So we're expanding our audiences na. So because now, you don't have to go to CCP to watch, right? So Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, artists, makers, teachers, they're all watching. So it's a challenge really, when you go virtual, how to provide enough context for people to have enough understanding also of the work. But yun din yung challenge, di ba? I think in the time of pandemic, and this is, I'm very adamant about context, and it's so important to think na, I really think na mas mahalaga to see that we are human beings first before we are artists. So it's also helpful to give audiences context of these artists. And then, importantly then, how do we generate conversations? You know what we yes, literally accessible. Totoo. In the comforts of your home. We have different challenges. It's very challenging and we're learning. So if you've seen the shows and you have comments and suggestions, please let us know. When we started streaming, grabe. Grabe. Masigla. Yes, I'm very genki. When we started streaming, we were surprised. The audiences on the comment section of Facebook started like talking to each other, like chatting and cheering. You know, kapit siya. It's called kapit because every time that there's an internet lag, because we're doing it live, audiences start putting egg, nag-aalay sila ng itlog emojis, and then they start cheering kapit, and they're praying to the internet gods. Yes, Mars. It's a different experience to experience live theater, and then there's live interaction, and people are saying break a lag because we're naglalag yung performances. What is this? Ano ba itong ginagawa natin? Ba't natin ginagawa? Why did we insist on doing it live? There's also that, I always talk about intentionality, and also the artists were taking that challenge of how we can be together despite all odds, right? So super importante yun. At the same time, the intentionality of audiences coming in and talking and discussing about this work. A lot of people are saying that, we are providing too much context, but I think it's up to your discernment naman. So we encourage also criticality, but we are at an age, at a state of nasa pandemic pa tayo, and Labfest had become a support community for a lot of artists and now our audiences. So we really encourage this generous and critical but kind exchanges. So wait lang. I'll give you a tour. Chikara, my friend Chikara is watching from Japan, but and I come from independent theater practice, so I'm used to having no resources. And then suddenly CCP invited us, but then nung nag-start yung pandemic, we cannot access then a lot of the resources because we cannot be at the cultural center. So the productions were done on very DIY, do-it-yourself. Look at this, I'll show you. This is my lightsaber, which serves as my light. So actors. Suddenly, actors become also lights designer. Hi, from Vienna. May I know your name? Maz. Maz, yeah. So actors started becoming lights designers of their own. Their family members start helping them set up. If you can see at my back, I have a green screen. Bring your light. I'm an actor. Bring your own light lagi. So if you can see, this is a makeshift green screen. Oops. I'll show you a makeshift green screen made of green cartolina. Very DIY. Alexander, hello. Thank you for watching. So this is how I set up our office. Look, because one show is streaming from this room, so I have different ways to sit. We have a floor chair. I have a floor chair, and I have a floor table, which also serves as a chair on a higher table. And we have different lights. We have whiskey, charing. It's just water. And tea and laptop. This is how we are operating on new normal. Oops, ayun. Minsan we have projectors. Yeah, so, oopsie. Yep, so we need to, as you can see, I have different, but you did not hear me today. I have different sound sources. We have, okay, I'll show you. It's very important for me as a director to have different sources of sound. So ito, so you have this earphones. I think this is my friend Aisa's. Hindi pa niya alam. Hi Aisa. This is another speaker, another bigger speaker. The idea is that when you're listening, you need to test because we're no longer in the theater, no? So a lot of the sound design by our wonderful designers, si TJ Ramos and even Teresa Barroso, we are testing yung auditory ng performances through this. And sometimes, it's also yung distance. I need to replicate the speciality of performance. So minsan if I need to like see it full shot or like this one, I have a mini projector and kailangan ko makita yung scale on a bigger scale, then definitely I will need to have a bigger speaker so that I would understand the performance and get a feel of its viscerality or even yung affect niya to audiences. So, you know, yun. Yeah, it's I'm so proud of our actors and our stage managers and our tech team. Lagi, sila Joy, sila Carlo, I'm so happy. Why? This is very important. May tubig lagi kasi a lot of our tech team hindi na sila tumatayo. That's a thing about working from home and doing programming kasi when you're in a theater, you go from one place to the next theater and you have like 10 minutes walk or at least may pagpag ka, right? Or you manage to regulate your time. But here, you go from one Zoom room, then you exit, then you go to the next, and then you keep on working. It's a challenge also for artists, how to regulate. Sometimes it's difficult because you want to tell people, stop working, but artists are naturally owls. Mga owls sila. And they operate well kapag gabing-gabi na. So yun, yung challenges of collaboration and challenges of doing virtual. Yeah, kanina I mentioned about audiences responding. A lot of people are saying, why don't you turn down the comment section and turn it on during the talk back? That's also part of our experimentation in this new platform. Again, like what I said, I come from community theater. I'm used to basketball court performances, to street theater performances and a lot of participatory work. This is our experience of the first week is like replicating this dynamism of audiences responding to performances. So a lot of people are saying, we should have like a virtual theater etiquette. And it's nice that people are articulating that. Maybe we can find like better ways of, what's a good virtual theater etiquette? But at the same time, it will be very interesting and nice for all of us to study this new phenomenon, this new experience where audiences are finally talking with each other, discussing, reacting, not necessarily responding, and at the same time they're helping each other and they're giving back that exchange of energies to audiences. Not necessarily bad, no? Sometimes it's distracting, but sometimes it's empowering, especially for artists who cannot hear the collective gasp or the collective or when a good scene is happening. So yun yung nawala natin. And we're always encouraging people to extend your support to artists who are continuously creating despite all odds. You know how difficult it is nowadays politically. Every day it's like a new challenge and it's so difficult to continue, but all the more you use those challenges to refuel you, to generate that stamina to go on and fight with love. I think when the pandemic happened, my first mandate to myself and to our team is to create a community, a support community for everyone. Sabi ni Mars, ngayon ang naging okay maging maingay ang audience habang nagpo-perform, di ba? The tradition of theater is that it's about rituals or even in this social functions that we do na pwede kang mag-participate. It's just the past few decades na biglang tahimik ka lang dyan, tapos papagalitan ka ng usher, right? So, we are learning so much. Oh, my good friend Ekang is joining us. She's my neighbor, but I cannot go to her home. She created this wonderful work called Paano Turuan ng Babae Humawak ng Baril. It will be available on Vimeo. Surprised kami kasi even if her work nag-lag for 5 times, it's almost like a Shakespearean play, or 3 times, but the audiences were there with us, kumakapit sila. So I want to understand what's in these performances that make audiences respond. And there's also novelty to it being done live. No, some of the works are hybrid. They've used like found footages and earlier recordings. Ayun. So wait lang, I'll show you again my studio. So I have different ways to sit down because I'm sitting from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. So iba-iba yung chair natin. Different light sources, my lightsabers, and listening keres. We have that. Yan, yung pala, kasi nadidehydrate yung mga tech namin. So my good friend Sok was telling us na, you have to moisturize. Wow! Tama. And here, I'll show you. So, okay, this is my first setup, but if I want to have a bigger setup for full body, ito. So, we have a green screen. Nako, nagkakaubusan na sa Facebook market yung Facebook market talaga. Nagkakaubusan na sa Facebook market yung mga green screen. Okay, I have some questions to answer. Sabi ng Art Plus Mag. Please tell us about you, okay? How am I doing? What keeps me busy nowadays? I'm doing Virgin Labfest now as a curator. But aside from being curator, I'm also public relations. I'm used to that naman. So we're also helping traffic information and fix online discussion. Kasi walang president to eh. Wow! Yon. Please tell us about your setup and gadgets. Okay. This is necessary. Sometimes a wide shot so that I don't need to push my laptop just to have a wider shot. This is important because I'm also doing webisodes for Department of Education. So I'm also teaching online. Here, look at this. We have a DJI. Tapos ito, I've shown this a while ago. This is a nice minimalist lamp that I got on Facebook. It provides nice lamp. My background is I studied theater, but I studied film then. So when we went online, I was reading it between film and live performance, and of course, itong bagong na to. You know what we discovered? A lot. We discovered na we moisturize, correct? We discovered that online, there's internet time. Internet time usually extends silences, and kunwari yung silence sa theater lang, that's already like mahaba, matagal na siya masyado. So I'm discussing with a lot of directors how to provide like handles for audiences. So tayo kumakapit kami, di ba? Internet and all. But what are the handles na pwedeng kapitan din ng audiences? Like a shift in unit or a change in meaning? Do we shift also the visuality of what we're seeing on screen? In the theater, we do that. Now we have change of lights. We do change lights. We do change music. So will that work when we do it online, right? So, yun yung mga question. Kailangan pag ito may gadget pa, kailangan tahimik tayo mga mem. So, meron tayong bladeless electric fan kasi ang ingay ng electric fan when we're on Zoom. Okay, so aside from the Labfest, I do work for Department of Education. It's called OKKK Tambayan. Tomorrow, I'll be with the Cultural Center of the Philippines Arts Education talking about teaching teachers about virtual performances. Yeah, that's what I do. Also, if you're interested, we are doing I'm co-facilitating Asian Performing Arts Farm, which is part of the Tokyo Festival. It will happen August to October. So the applications are open now. We're looking for performance makers who are curious and interested in doing work but virtual. So we cannot be in Indonesia and Tokyo now. So we will all do it sa Zoom. No, I'm also preparing for Scenes 2020 Singapore. It's a program by good friend Han Chiu-mei, the Drama Box company, where they're also migrating their platform online. So we will have a roundtable discussion with our colleagues from Asia in the next few days. So babaltaan ko kayo about that. Where can we see those webisodes? Depth Ed Philippines. So I have a double life, charing. I do this performances, Labfest that are very untried, untested, while at the same time I do works for teenagers and children. So ayun, ano pa ba? This is nice gadget. I got this, di ba? Maliit na projector. So, super helpful siya. Okay, how are you preparing for the post-pandemic future? Well, of course, now I'm curious. I want to learn more about even at the beginning of the pandemic or before pandemic or beginning of the year, a lot of artists are thinking about permaculture and having like more sustainable livelihoods, diba? Livelihoods. So I'm thinking a lot about that and finding a space. Actually, I wanted to leave Metro Manila and be in a space, create space where we can problematize sustainability, those things. Now, I'm currently interested in virtual reality. I'm interested in participatory action. In particular, I'm curious and I'm interested in investigating performance as direct action and performance as mutual aid, whatever that means. No? So I'm keen on doing research and making works about that because remember my background is participatory performance. So ayun, what are you most excited about this pandemic? I'm excited to travel. I'm excited to be in different communities. I work for various communities. Supposedly we're doing we have worked with our Manuvu brothers and sisters, and we have a continuing work for peace hubs. A thing that we're developing in Basilan, Sulu, and Marawi. But because of the pandemic, hindi siya natuloy. So we hope that we can continue doing that work, devising with the communities, and it will take a lot of time to be in these spaces. I'm looking forward to be in different spaces and looking at different modalities of art making. I think Labfest is just really drama and theater interpreting, but then gusto ko pang tumawid to a more social sphere, which is direct participation. So yeah, it's more. What are you most excited? Current and future projects. So I talked about that. I'm part of the Public Intellectuals Democracy Discourse Series of Salle University, and we have projects, Komunidad Peace Hubs. So we will do that where we pre-enact. We create pre-enactments of peaceful communities. Yan. Whoa! Ano ibig sabihin nun? Visit us. We have a Facebook page, Komunidad X. Ano pa ba? I'm doing APAF also. I'm also facilitating the Philippines leg of Dance Lab. It's a contemporary performance and dance laboratory based in Singapore. So they invited, because we cannot be together in Singapore, they invited me to hold a residency or workshop series in the Philippines. So that will be in July. Diba? So dance, lahat yan, find me on Facebook, JK Anicoche. And then later this year, I'm doing APAF, the Asian Performing Arts Farm, as a facilitator. I'm excited about Pwede ko bang sabihin o ipapahuli ako? Charing! So, a lot of the work that I do now is about pre-enacting justice. I'm doing works with a lot of lawyers in the next few months, where we will pre-enact the biggest court case in the Philippines. Yun na muna. Yeah, how would you like to remember these times? You know, these times, the pandemic is actually teaching us to listen deeper and find more efficient ways of supporting each other and being together. So, I want to remember generosities of people in times that are most challenging. You know, I work for disaster areas. I'm using art for psychological first aid, so that's also one of my backgrounds. So I treat performance as a disaster, and always I figure out how to mitigate and how to go to the path of recovery. So yun yung iniisip ko talaga. But I think, as soon as we provide basic needs to our artists, we need to rethink also. We need, performing artists need to unionize. We need to rethink how freelancers operate also, and ano yung responsibility ng big organizations, and how to make cultural institutions accountable to artists, especially in times of crisis. So that's very important. That's necessary. We don't have policies for that yet. So I'm so happy that colleagues in the arts are doing that, especially for performing artists. You know, kami po, katawan lang ang puhunan namin minsan. And it's so difficult na sa panahon ng crisis, you don't have, wala kang support. So I hope may systemic change, but if wala, then we demand, and we're still currently in the struggle of fighting for freedom of expression in times where they weaponize dissent. So this pandemic is teaching us to find new ways of being together, new ways to resist through our art making and whatever we do, right? So, in observance of the Pride Month, how I plan to celebrate Pride Month, this is accidental. We managed to program a performance called Blackpink about a child, a boy wanting to learn the dance of Blackpink, and then akala ng tatay niya bakla siya. So anyway, Soji. So watch that on the 28th. Hindi ko sinasadya, naka-program siya sa Pride Day, o diba? Also, yeah, I have late night storytelling sessions for the LGBTQIA. I do storytelling for LGBTQIA children, where we read works by our brothers and sisters from the community. Yes, so those are the projects I do. Last time I read Dear Boy, a letter for a young gay man, by Mike de Guzman, who passed away earlier this year. He's also the author of Dalawang Daddy ni Billy. So I read this. I'm a storyteller for children, but I choose to tell those challenging and difficult stories that are often not told, but with a lot of care and with a lot of guidance to our audiences. So that's what I'll do for Pride Month. And find some cuddles. Charing! Paano? We're working! Okay, send hugs. Send emojis. Yes, Chikara said it's a new opportunity for new balance between mobility and gravity. I've been very mobile as an artist for the past 5 years. I've been, like I said, I've been moving around in different communities, collaborating with different people, but now we are forced to rethink what it means to be in space, how to be rooted and routed, how do we really connect? So dun, sobrang curious ako about that. E-hugs. Thank you, Mars. How do you feel, how do you respond to people who feel negatively about a person who is LGBTQ++? Well, I think we need to be very patient also in explaining, right? And also to all to our LGBT friends and allies, we need to be very intentional about providing the structure of support that we need. But we also need to be very patient in explaining these things. But in the end, kung choice talaga nila, no, na maging, after explaining and educating, they choose to be bigoted, yun, I think at times we need to draw the line. But don't, but let's not, let's find ways to do it with kindness and find our shared humanity. I know it's challenging, no? It's easy to be angry and to like push each other, shout at each other. But if activism is fueled, deep-seated, deeply rooted in love and understanding, baka there are better ways. Speak the language of the people, figure out ways to connect. Marami eh. So, I cannot explain here because I have a few more minutes. So Art Plus Magazine Celebration of Pride Month are asking about my LGBT heroes. I'll show you from my laptop. This is Bunny, my friend. Bunny Kadig, a wonderful singer and performance maker. In 2017, she managed to put it online. Questioning a big corporation, no? When she was not allowed to go back to work just because of her being transsexual or something like that. You can read that. Search Bunny Kadag, but she's this wonderful performer who's always investigating dynamism of sexuality and gender embodied in her body. But Bunny is one of our very inspiring LGBT advocate, rights advocate ng LGBT. I have more heroes. Narca Bico, who made the song for the VLF community. This is Nar, if you're familiar with the Gaga song. She created this Gaga song. So Nar is this wonderful musician who creates songs, no? And if you're watching Virgin Labfest, we have this Kapit Puso song. In the beginning of the virtual migration, until now naman, a lot of artists are losing morale because of the times. Especially pag may announcement, pag madaling araw, tapos parang usapang laseng, di ba? That's why we announce midnight. Sharing. It's very disheartening what's happening, no? And so I figured out, I asked my good friend Nar Kabico, wonderful musician, sometimes we need something to hold on to. Maybe it's a song, maybe it's a prayer or a prayer song. He said maybe it's an anthem. So we started creating this beautiful song after days of. He's in Texas and I'm in the Philippines with Tita Nikki. We were just telling stories about what we miss about theater, and he came up with this beautiful song entitled Kapit Puso. We're having a lyric video of that. That's our gift to theater. That's our gift to the community. Yun, si Nar, si Bunny, who else? Madami kong heroes. Gian Abrahan, who's this wonderful director who's bringing different representations of the community through films, diba? Important yon that we are expanding a range of narratives. At marami, yun lang. So, thank you. Ang daming nangyari. It's our day of today, and thank you for joining me. Wala akong virtual background, but I want to put more background. But I want to dance. I hope you find time to dance because the music that's playing is made by a very young artist, si King. So, rap artist din siya. Yeah. Okay, I'll announce this na. In December, we would like to invite everyone. We will have a performance festival, Komunidad Festival, more on devising new works with different communities. So, watch out for that. And I hope you find time to dance. Sana sumayaw kayo. I like dancing, yeah. But to sit down and watch performances for many hours, that's crazy. But thank you. Thank you for joining me. Do you have questions? I think I have good 5 minutes bago ako maging ano ulit, curator and talking about words scam Join us at the Virgin Labfest, okay? Second week, we have collab or our conversations roundtable with directors, designers. We're excited because my favorite people will be talking a lot about the wide range of artistic processes na meron sila, especially about collaborating. Right now, wow. Very tito tayo dito. But yeah, I hope you had a good night. Salamat po. Thank you. What makes it worth it? Oh, Cheska. That's naiyak. What makes it worth it? I think I always say that it's human nature to connect to fellow human beings, right? What makes it worth it? To see people find reasons to continue fighting for what is right, to continue holding on to their life, and to just be, to continue breathing together. Anyway, so it's worth it, I think. What makes it worth it? That we are at a time where we're learning so much, and now we are reflecting on what it means to be human and humane, and how else we could set conditions to make a better environment for all of us. It's challenging. It's very challenging. But sometimes when you see a good work of art, a good performance, iba, yung ganyan, it's visceral and it's meaning-making, sense-making, and it's wonderful propositions, and it's well-made. It gives you hope. It gives you a vision that there's always something better beyond where we are at now. Higit pa dito. Always. And we start dreaming again. That's important. Our capacity to dream. So, maraming salamat po. Very dito. I hope you had a good day. It's a good Monday. Maraming salamat. Bye. Thank you, Art Plus Mag. Thank you for having me. And join us at the Virgin Labfest. Salamat po. I'll find time to sleep. Oy, Jerome! Choco Jerome! Hi, Jerome. Sana, hello to all artists in Angono at sa kung saan pa. Hi, Madge. Hey, watch out for my good friend Madge. She's joining us now. She has a wonderful platform for dance and filmmakers. So, hey, in-announce ko na. Sikat pa yun. But I think I'm just really happy and glad that a lot of artists are finding ways to generate opportunities for each other and yun lang, you know, para ma-inspire. I'm fueled by everyone. I'm really inspired by what people do. So yun lang, when you're tired, rest. When you are distressed, find time to rest. But if you're a bullet train, go ahead, take that ride. Go take that roller coaster. No one's stopping you. We're there to support. Salamat po. Good night. Sumayaw pa lolo. Thank you. Bye. Good night. I'm ending. Watch Virgin Labfest.